This is Jennifer Knight, and this is my video on strengths-based school counseling.
Both professionally and personally, I am a strong believer in motivation. I believe that children and adults will achieve more when motivated rather than scared into doing something. I am also a strong believer in positive thinking. Our thinking guides our actions. I believe that we can accomplish anything that we set our minds to do. I also believe that we all have strengths that we are born with, but some of us need more encouragement than others to recognize those strengths. This is why I identify with the strengths-based theory of counseling.
School counselors can benefit from the information shared in this video because historically the field of counseling has embraced a medical model that is focused on deficits rather than strengths. To better impact all students in meaningful ways, school counselors cannot continue to focus primarily on providing deficit reduction services to a small percentage of the student population. Strengths-based counseling incorporates the models of Maslow and Rogerian counseling methods, as well as social work practice. Abraham Maslow proposed a 5-tier hierarchical system of needs that all people experience. At the top of the hierarchy is self-esteem and self-actualization. These are at the roots of strength-based counseling. Self-esteem is defined as a feeling of having respect for yourself and your abilities. Self-actualization is defined as to realize fully one's potential. Maslow was the first to use the term positive psychology, which in turn gave life to strengths-based counseling. According to Park and Peterson, positive psychology is the scientific study of what goes right in life. The most basic assumption that positive psychology postulates is that human goodness and excellence are as authentic as disease, disorder, and distress. Therefore, it must be given as much attention as the latter. Carl Rogers believed that people are inherently good and creative. They become destructive only when a poor self-concept or external constraints override the valuing process. Rogers believed that for a person to achieve self-actualization, they must be in a state of congruence. This means that self-actualization occurs when a person's ideal self, or who they would like to be, is congruent with their actual behavior or their self-image. According to Rogers, we want to feel, experience, and behave in ways which are consistent with our self-image and which reflect what we would like to be or our ideal self. The closer our self-image and ideal self are to each other, the more consistent or congruent we are and the higher our sense of self-worth. Strengths-based counseling builds on both of these models by using positive thinking and a focus on the strengths of the individuals to build self-esteem and enable us to become like our ideal self. Strengths-based counseling in schools is a shift in the field of counseling that focuses on building resilience through identifying and promoting students' strengths rather than problem prevention and problem reduction. This counseling does not cure the child in a medical sense of the word, but it makes it possible for the child to manage or avoid problems. Therefore, strengths-based school counseling's emphasis is on promotion of evidence-based strengths associated with positive development in the academic, personal, social, and career domains.
It was once said that if we ask people to look for their deficits, they will usually find them, and their view of the situation will be colored by this. If we ask people to look for their successes, they will usually find it, and their view of the situation will be colored by this. In many ways, our traditional model of care embraces the belief that people need help because they actually have a problem. This emphasis on deficits, or what a person is lacking, leads to a cycle of focusing only on what needs need to be repaired, followed by some assumed solutions. It's a deficit approach that says, I need to fix you. When we do that, though, we actually deny people the opportunity to face the challenge and actually learn from it and discover things about themselves that they're going to need in order to resolve that situation in a way that actually looks like success for them. More recently, care providers and organizations have embraced this new strengths perspective and what it means to work with people and promote positive change. Rather than that more traditional model of fixing, it's more about actually focusing on people and understanding what strengths they bring to the picture, what capacities that we can draw upon that actually they will use in ways to transform their own lives in positive ways. It's important to understand that a strength-based perspective is not about denying challenges, but it actually sees challenges as an opportunity to grow. When problems become the starting point of change, then we tend to label people. There's a dependency that occurs. And it's always about drawing upon others in order to resolve their issues. But when we look at strengths, when we look at those things that people bring to the picture, they are then able to embrace it in ways that they understand. In many ways, this shift to a strength-based perspective changes the way we work with people. It's about working with people and facilitating rather than trying to fix their issues. It's about looking for signs of health rather than signs of risk. And it's about moving away from labels which limit people's options. It invites asking very different questions that are more curious, exploratory, and hopeful. The strengths approach, as a philosophy of practicing, draws one away from an emphasis on procedures, techniques, knowledge as the keys to change. It's not expert-driven. It reminds us that every person, family group, community are the keys to their own transformation and meaningful change. The real challenge, and always has been, whether we are willing to fully embrace a different way of approaching people and working with them. If we do, then the change starts with us in the helping profession, not with those we serve. Embracing a strength-based approach involves a different way of thinking about people, interpreting their patterns of coping with life challenges. With a strength-based mindset, one asks different questions and communicates in a way that invites a curious exploration based upon a clear set of values and attitudes. It's about exploring what can be as opposed to why not.
Catulli, Herbers, Lefevre, and Maston reviewed theory and research on resilience in relation to competence development in children and adolescents and risks to positive development. They highlighted the central role schools and counselors play in helping students develop competence and resilience, as well as the importance of emphasizing positive development and strengths in the mission of schools and school counseling. Strengths-based school counseling provides a framework to guide the practice of school counseling that is both compatible with and operationalizes many of the features of the ASCA National Model for School Counseling Programs. Strengths-based school counselors employ a variety of direct and systemic-level interventions to promote culturally relevant student development in the academic, personal, social, and career domains. The strengths-based perspective identifies the counselor as a school leader who collaborates with students, teachers, administrators, parents, and other members of the community and promotes strength-enhancing environments for all students. Strengths-based school counseling is guided by 6 principles. Promote cultural and context-based development for all students. Promote evidence-based individual student strengths. Promote evidence-based strength-enhancing environments. Emphasize strengths promotion over problem reduction and problem prevention. Emphasize evidence-based interventions in practice. And emphasize promotion-oriented developmental advocacy at the school level. In the strengths-based counseling approach, the counselor's job is to help the student identify his or her unique strengths and resilient factors in their life and help them build on them. The first step in strengths-based counseling in schools is establishing a healthy therapeutic relationship with the student. To build this relationship, the student should feel empathy and respect from the counselor and feel that the counselor is genuine. This can be accomplished through active listening and sharing something personal about yourself to show that you can identify with them. The second step is identifying the student's strengths and resiliency factors. These factors can be internal or external and are usually culturally and contextually based. What may seem like a weakness to one culture in a certain context may be considered a strength in another. The third step is for the counselor to clarify the problem that will be addressed in the counseling sessions. The student should establish the goals of the sessions, but the counselor may need to guide them through this step. The counselor should then guide a discussion that enables the student to see his or her strengths without appearing judgmental even through praise. It is not the place of the counselor to make the student feel better in the moment, but for the student to realize that he or she has the skills needed to be a survivor. The counselor then works with the student to identify solutions to his or her problems. This is done by focusing on solutions to problems rather than the problem itself. Developing ideas regarding solutions are optimistic and hopeful. This can be accomplished by discussing times when the problem does not occur, which enables the student to determine effective strategies that can be utilized when problems do occur. The final step focuses on ways the identified strengths can be used to improve the student competence, problem-solving ability, and resilience. The identification of these strengths allows the counselor to focus on the strength and resilience of the student while enabling the student to feel like a survivor rather than a victim. This allows the student to feel that he or she has control over his or her own life. The following video is an example of strength-based counseling.
Good afternoon, James.
Hey, Dr. Weissman.
So, last week we focused on some of the issues that you want to work on. Do you have any leftover thoughts from last week's session?
No, not really.
Okay. You mentioned that you want to improve your motivation and school performance.
Right. I'm not doing good in a few of my classes. I can get one grade up, but when I do, my others drop.
I see. Tell me more about that.
Well, I'm really busy with sports and sometimes I don't have time to do all my homework. I have a hard time with getting the assignments done and turned in.
Are you not completing your homework because you feel unmotivated to do it, or because you don't have enough time?
I guess both. Some days I don't have enough time and other days I just don't want to do it.
Ah, okay. So, one thing I see here is your awareness of the assignments. You seem to be bright and have a good memory about what is important.
Yes, I guess.
It also sounds like when you do have time, you are able to complete at least some homework. Are there times when you are not playing sports or at school, when you could be working on homework?
I guess when I'm playing video games or hanging out in my room.
So there are times where you are being less productive. Okay, good. It's also important to keep some of the personal time to relax so you don't get overwhelmed. With it in mind, if you woke up tomorrow and everything was perfect in your life, what would it look like? How would your day go?
I'd wake up and eat my stepmom's homemade pancakes. Then I'd go play in a baseball game. I would then go to a river on a little boat with my cousin who lives in Washington. We'd go fishing like we used to when I lived in Washington. Then I would come home and watch TV or play some video games with my friends. That's about it.
I'm hearing a few things here. On your perfect day, you would do what you do every weekend, play baseball. That's great. You are already living part of your perfect day every week. Two more things that I heard you say are that you have a close relationship with your family and that you like being outdoors. I also hear that you miss components of where you used to live and the family members that are still there. One thing I did not hear was any focus on your schoolwork. Besides maybe not having to go, how would your school and education tie into your perfect day?
I wouldn't have any homework or it would already be done.
So you would like your homework to be done for you to have a chance at experiencing your perfect day?
Yeah.
So, would you be willing to find time before or early in that day to complete your homework so that it isn't looming over your head all day?
Well, yes. But if I had to do it on my perfect day, my day wouldn't be perfect.
That is an excellent observation. So where could you find time before that perfect day, which sounds like the weekend days for you, to finish your homework assignments?
Well, when I'm not at school, I'm either playing sports, eating, playing video games, or watching TV. I guess I could do it when my stepmom is watching Dancing with the Stars. I don't like that show and usually go play video games at that time.
That sounds like a good plan to me. I believe that show is at least an hour long. Are there any other days where you could work on homework while someone is watching a TV program you don't like?
Yeah. When Survivor and Lost are on, I can do some homework. I don't like those outdoor island shows.
Sounds great. Now you have found a few hours a week where you can get that homework done before the weekend.
Yeah, I did it. I found some time.
Nice dance moves. I'd join you, but that would be inappropriate. Let's try this week doing your homework during those times and check in again next week to see how it goes.
Thanks, Doc. See you next week.
Children continue to evolve, strengths-based counseling will continue to address positive youth development through recognizing, celebrating, and encouraging character strengths. Research conducted by Park and Peterson identifies those character strengths as perseverance, gratitude, and hope. A variety of exercises that are culturally and contextually based that will encourage those character strengths in students that already possess them and those that do not possess them can be utilized. One example of this type of activity is encouraging students to express their gratitude for the positive things in their life. Considering strengths-based counseling in schools, the ethical standards for school counselors should be considered. Some of these standards that will be especially important to consider with this method are the responsibility to students. Ensuring activities are culturally and contextually based will meet the ethical standards that states that counselors have a primary obligation to the students who are to be treated with dignity and respect as unique individuals. While encouraging character strengths in students, it will be important for the counselor to respect students' values, beliefs, and cultural background and not to impose the school counselor's personal values on the students. Strengths-based school counseling will impact the academic achievement of students as research has shown a positive self-image, positive thinking, and character strengths increase academic achievement in all areas. When students feel like they can accomplish their goals, they will achieve more. The strengths-based model impacts the general mission of schools, as most schools' mission is to achieve a positive and encouraging learning environment that supports personal and academic growth of students. In conclusion, strengths-based school counseling can increase the personal and academic achievement of students by recognizing and encouraging the strengths, competence, and resilience in students.